do like a mini webinar where I was going to focus and talk about how we can do branding. So if you are in the group right now and you see me going live, that's awesome. That's amazing. And I'm going to make sure you all, excuse me, I'm trying to tag everyone so that you know that I'm going live right now. So here's the thing. I was supposed to start earlier today, but certain things happened and just want to apologize for that. But what we're going to be talking about today essentially is what is branding and how and how you can increase your brand awareness. Make sense? So I'm a little bit discombobulated today. This is a lesson that I am learning more and more every day, is that we cannot continue to engage with people who has less to lose than us. Like you, we should be engaging with people who has more to lose, simply because they are aware of the ramifications of doing certain things. And I cannot stress this enough. For those of you who have children, and yeah, this is all coming from, my kids and all of that stuff. But if you have children, you can definitely relate, where I know that you're preaching to them all the time about who they associate with. And pretty much if they are engaging with people that you know they don't need to engage with, that pretty much you guys tell them that, right? I'm just trying to tag some people right now because they're like, hey, you going live? And all right, sorry about that. But this is what I am noticing, is that because so many things is happening in the world today, our children have a tendency to get so involved in what is happening for them in that moment. And they don't understand the ramifications of pretty much of how you are impacting your life in the vast majority of it. Yes. So one action, one moment of anything that they're doing, that is the moment where they need to think before they act. And to them, they're like, oh, it's no big deal. But the ramifications of it, you can choose, and you can choose the act, but you cannot control the ramifications or the consequence of that act. And I just think that our children oftentimes don't understand that, because one moment in time can mess up their life. And if they're not intentionally aware of what is happening to them in that moment, in that time, it could really mess up their lives. So for those of you who have children, and as we're going into this season, good morning, Emeka. And as we're going into this season, I just want to say that I am praying for you, and that we all need to have an intercession where we are interceding for each other. There is a spiritual warfare going on, and I believe that our kids are at risk. So we need to do whatever we can to make sure that they are prayed up and that they are aware that what is happening is bigger than them. But they may be a solution to one of the problems of what's to come in the future. And anything and everything the opposition will be there to stop them from stepping into their greatness, from stepping into their purpose. So as parents, as grandparents, as guardians, I am going to challenge you, if you're not doing it, do it more. To be that interceding person for your children so that eventually they understand that it is important for them to reflect first and then respond later. And as much as they can in their, small amount of time on this earth, that as we're teaching them and that as we're educating them and we are praying for them to take some type of knowledge, because in those moments when we're not there, it's really going to help them either continue or to push them back. And after that moment is gone, it could change their life forever in a blink of an eye. So this is the conversation that I'm having with my son, is that you have to engage with people who have more to lose than you. The ones who has less to lose, they don't care. And saving face and trying to prove something is very small when we look at the vastness. I can hear all of that, Xavier. Is very small in the vastness of what they have to overcome, what they have to accomplish. All right, so I just wanted to, that's one of the reasons why I was late, because I'm being a mother as well as an entrepreneur, and so many things happen all the time, but many things are happening all the time that we have to intercede for each other, and this is a community for us to be able to intercede. All right, so what I wanted to talk about today is what is branding, how you can increase your own brand awareness. And I'm going to give you a couple of things on what we're doing on two of my social media platforms on Instagram. One for the business, which is my leadership and business strategy company. And then the second one is something that we just do, we have fun with, but we have had people reach out to us for branding purposes. All right, so the first thing is, what is branding? You know what, I had all my paperwork here, but because I had something to interrupt me this morning, it really messed me up. So just tell everyone where you're coming from and what you do. If you're a YouTuber, put in there that you're a YouTuber. If you're an entrepreneur, put a link. What do you do? What is it that you are? What is it that you want to be known for? And what is it that you are known for? So when your name, your logo, anything that you have come up that is your brand, what is it that you, when they hear it, that you want to be known for? All right. So according to the American Branding Institute, branding is really means the process of creating a distinctive identity for a business in the mind of your audience and consumers. It is something that is very distinctive. If you think of any brands that you know of, right? Anything that you use. I am a Bath and Body Works person. I know their brand no matter where it is. And what sticks in my mind is comfortability and warmth, because that's what their products that I use bring to me. Yes. So you have to think about, what is it that you want your brand to stand for? When people see it, that they know that it represents this. What does that mean for you? So of course, some of the branding essentials is the logo, is the visual design when people come to your website or anything like that. What your mission is, people know what your mission is, what do you stand for, and the tone of voice. When people are reading words that is coming from your company, does it resonate with you? Does it sound like you? They are looking for those type of things. Branding, I believe, is one of the most critical things that we have a tendency to overlook. We do a lot of things. We do marketing, which is not branding, right? We do PR, which is not branding, right? Branding is, what do you want to be known for? When I was working in the workplace in 2010, I was working at a phenomenal company that I retired from. I will never forget this. This guy, I was asking him like, hey, what, I just started working here. What are some of the things that, I need to do? And he said, develop your brand. No one had ever said anything like that to me before. I didn't even think about it, right? Because when you are doing something, even if you're working in your own business, you are working. Doesn't necessarily you have in your mind that you are developing your brand. So you want to think about is, what is it that I want my brand to say when I step into the room, when anyone who's representing my logo, anytime people encounter my business, what is it that I want them to know that I want to stand for? And that's something that you really need to make sure you work on, so that when you are targeting the right clients, they know exactly what they're going to get. It will not be any type of hesitation. They know that you stand for quality. They know that you stand for transparency, whatever it is, but they know exactly what they are getting. Because the next thing is, you need to know, who are you providing your services for? Who are you providing it to? Because your target audience, you want to make sure that when they see your brand, it resonates with them. Does that make sense? That when they see something, a product or service that is coming from you, it resonates with them, that they know what they're getting. When I started my business early on, I had already developed a brand in terms of leadership. That was my brand, leadership and no nonsense. People were like, Uche, you were a no nonsense person. You did not tolerate a lot of things, and you always spoke to facts. That was the brand that I had. So when I started my business, it made perfect sense that I would go into the training industry, where I would now teach other people about how to utilize their leadership skills, right? To have the best of both worlds, to start and expand on their business. Because those are some of the dominant things, right? As a business owner, you are a leader. I don't care what anyone tell you, you are a leader. By default, you are a leader. So I teach how you can have the best of both worlds. As a leader and as a business owner, how can you merge the two for you to start your business or to grow it? Especially those of us who have startups. Now, let's be clear. A startup is a business that has just started. Okay? You're just getting everything together, the accounting, the financials, your logo, your product, your services. It's a startup. What I often find is that a lot of us stay in startup for a long goddamn time. You're in there forever when you really should be going to the growth phase. But because you never identified, you weren't consistent, you didn't know how to execute, you stayed in the startup phase. Okay, so that's something completely different. For those of you who are my clients, you understand what I get very passionate about, that is that we have to move past that and really begin to go into the growth stage. And one of the reasons is we need to be consistent. And here's the thing. Quit trying to be like everybody else. When you are branding, I get it, because I did that too. When I first started out in branding, let me share my screen with you, because I'm going to share with you what I did when I first started out, and how I shifted because I wasn't being authentically me. Okay. One of the biggest things is that when I came on, I wanted to be I'm going to share it to you. This is my Instagram page. So for those of you who are not following me, make sure you follow. Okay. Email, can you guys see my screen? Okay, so it says it's thinking. Oh no, is it gonna let you? Okay, there you go. Woo, it worked. Okay, so this is my Instagram. So when I first started my business, these were like, for example, in terms of the colors and the scheme that I use and what my messaging was. I wanted to come in. I actually started off. So here's what's interesting. I actually went through 3 different type of branding. And let me say this, be kind to yourself, because as you're trying to figure out what is it that who you are and what you represent, it's okay that you change over time. All right. Because when I first started, I started with a beautiful color of hot pink and with a gray and white. And it really did not represent me. But it worked. It worked. It worked. But over time, what I actually found was that, hold on, I'm going to get to it. Because as you can see, I went through a lot of different branding. And I want to show you this because I want to really be authentic in the process, right? So this is my 3rd year of really going hard on my business. Last 2020 is where I really started. While I was working 2021, I sort of did it like part-time, but after I retired from corporate at the end of 2021, going into 2022, really 2022, this is like where my full year of really doing it full time, where I've invested in other coaches and I'm getting more and more help and more engagements. And hold on. So you're seeing the blue, but this was not the original. I changed and shifted. So this is who I was. So you see this pink and gray? That was the brand that I had, and my theme was Thrive, because that was what was happening in 2020. Was a lot happening, and I was like, listen, we're gonna thrive during uncertainty. Like that was my motto: thrive during uncertainty. I wrote an ebook and all that stuff about it. Had different things, different topics on how to lead with purpose, on leadership. But I read this amazing, I was reading this book that someone gave me. It was Cash for Ties. I'm going to put in a link on where, Emeka, you should be able to see it now. Where it's a great book in terms of marketing and branding. And it was like, if you go to blue, then this is more attractive to men. And I was like, okay, well, I want to go to blue. So I removed all the pink. And then now became blue and white and gray. And that's why you're seeing the transition in terms of my branding. And I will say this, I did get a lot more attention in terms of marketing, but that's not what we're talking about. But in terms of branding, this is what I shifted to. And to be honest with you, it wasn't me. Because this is something else too. You have to make sure that you get a brand that's in alignment with who you are and what makes sense for you. And I just want to reiterate that it's okay for you to shift because you're still trying to find your purpose. You're still trying to find yourself, especially if you're starting. Don't be so hard on yourself. Okay. So this is some of the, so I went through this, went through each different stage in terms of that. And then this year was when I said, and then I incorporated some pink back in there because I was like, I love color. I need some color. But it wasn't me. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be authentically me. And I shifted my brand in terms of who I was speaking to, in terms of who I was going to talk to, and in terms of just overall colors to be to now where it's a beautiful, bold red and black. And this is who I am. And it took time for me to do that. However, once I stepped into who I was able to now be authentically me and to show up as me. So now I love when I usually come on, I didn't wear it today. I love wearing, I have a red shirt. And let me say this, I keep it simple. The same red shirt, and I have a beautiful color red lipstick that I wear. And when I show up now, I show up as that. And I love it because it's me. You got to understand is that oftentimes people want you to assimilate into the standards. And I have never been a person who assimilated into anything. As a matter of fact, whenever I will go into a place, do you know the number one thing that I will always hear when I will step in to try to do something? We don't do it like that. That was the number one thing, which again is a brand, right? So because I heard that a lot, what that meant was majority of the time when I stepped on anybody's campus, anybody's platform, anything, I was canvassing new innovative ways on how to do things, which is why in the community that you're in, the LEAP community, it's the same thing. You want to be in it. You guys are here for a reason. And I believe it's because we don't do things the traditional way. We are thinking outside of the box. We are the naysayers. When people say you have to do it this way, we'll listen to you. We'll find it. However, we are going to put our own spin on things so that we can leap forward to our next. Okay? And that's what this community is. It's really for those who don't fit anywhere. We're outliers. And there's nothing wrong with that. We should never feel like we have to assimilate and to tone down who we are. And I believe in branding, those are the ones who stand out. The ones who challenge norms. If you don't want to stand out, don't challenge anything. If you just want to go with the status quo, then that's for you. But in this community, we challenge the norms because we are not normal. Okay? We do things that are different. We are innovators and we're creators. I want to just make sure that you know that you are here because you're an innovator and you're a creator. And just because someone doesn't see your greatness doesn't mean that it's incorrect or wrong. It just means that you don't fit into the box that they want you to. So your brand is the same thing. What do you want to be known for? And the second thing is, who are you providing your service to? So if you hear me all the time, I'm like, hi, my name is Luce Maple. I'm a leadership and business strategist. I help women leaders get the best of both worlds by bringing in their leadership skills to help them grow and start their business without being overwhelmed or having any type of anxiety. Do you know why I focused on that? Because the majority of people that I attract are leaders, because by default, I'm a leader. And they're trying to figure out how they can grow and scale a business because they're working, but they don't want to be overwhelmed or have the anxiety. Yes? Okay. So the third thing is that I want to talk about is the colors. So if you've never heard of this is called the Psychology of Colors. Go on there, psychologyofcolors.org. What I'm going to show you is my own IP. I'm not going to show their IP on there because it's not mine. So I'm going to share my screen again because this is something that I okay, it works. Woo! Okay, so In terms of what your brand colors are, something you want to be cognizant of. So if you go to the psychologyofcolors.org, you can take a look at all of this. But the different colors is like red, power, bold. What do you think about when you see people wearing red or lipstick? Or if you think of your favorite brands who like Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola is actually red and black. I'm actually trying to see. McDonald's, KFC, Popeyes, they all use red logos, right? But it's bold, Nabisco, Heinz, Coca-Cola. So they're bold, and it says that they're powerful and that they're here. So that's something that you need to think about, right? Is what is you saying? And for me, red makes sense because I am bold and I'm powerful. And I like when I walk into a room, again, this is your brand. If you want to know quickly, and I talk about this, if you really want to know very quickly what you think your brand is, ask 5 people. Ask 5 people. What do you think of me? Ask them. And in terms of, you can do personal and then you can do professional. Hey, what's your opinion of me? And they'll tell you. If you really want to know what your brand is. And if it's not what you want it to be, then you need to change it. Now we talk about strategies and all that stuff in the in my business accelerator program, how you can shift the mindset and influence. That's what we talk about there, but we don't talk about that here. But in terms of branding, that's what you need to do, right? So for orange, it's friendly, confident. If you think about what are some of the colors, we think about Home Depot. Definitely know we friendly, very friendly environment. You might think about Amazon because they have a logo there. Reese's Pieces, some of the things that you want to think about. Well, that's like, I love Reese's Pieces. But some of the things you might want to think about. In terms of yellow, what comes to mind? We know that McDonald's, the yellow arch, that definitely comes to mind. And that's optimism, that's warmth. I know for me growing up, that was one of the biggest things that we love is when we went there. When growing up when at McDonald's, it was the best place ever. So that was something that we always thought about as well. So what does your brand color say about you? We know that green, people say green is that's for money and growth. Which one of your favorite brands has the color green that you like, that you think about, right? So if your color is green, people definitely think about eco-friendly. That's something that always come to my mind. You definitely think about growth. You definitely think about money. What is it that you want them to say when your colors are like that? Blue, strong, trust. Remember I talked about earlier where it says that, this is more attractive to men, right? Because men predominantly wear blue when they're in a meeting. And, even if you're in corporate, you wear the blue jacket, maybe pants, same thing. Strong, trustworthy. You want to look at that. Purple, we know that creative, royalty, right? We know that when people wearing, even in the Bible, when they talk about the color purple, that's a sign of royalty. So what is your brand saying? And then black, right? We know that Prada, BMW, all those exclusive brands with the color black, it's like elegance and prestige. So what is it that your brand colors say to people when they experience you? How do you want them to feel? Is it in alignment with what you want them to feel? Is it in alignment with what you want them to have? So that's something else. So that's something to think about. Remember, you see when I showed you how my brand color shifted to ultimately, for me, it's a beautiful color red. It is the black and then of course the white, right? And I utilize it everywhere. But my staple is that beautiful red shirt and then that color lipstick that I wear where people know, yep, that's Uche. And when I stepped into my ultimately me, how to be authentically me, I love it and I feel very powerful. So make sure you are getting things that's in alignment with who you are and how you want your brand to stand out. And then the third thing is with your branding. How can you increase your brand awareness, right? So this is something important that a lot of us don't do. Great, you're doing it on social media, that's cool. However, one of the reasons why I was able to build, and this was not short term, this was a long-term endeavor. When I wanted people to begin to know that I am a phenomenal leader, I started going and doing speaking engagements, live speaking engagements, where I would speak on different topics in my area of expertise, and leadership was one of them. So that is such a powerful way on how you can gain more visibility and more branding. One of the things I tell my clients all the time is, quit trying to just be known locally. It's time for you to go global, be globally known. And you can do that with a plethora of things. One of the ways that I like it is that if you were to target organizations that's in alignment with what your business is. When I say organizations, because organizations are different, right? They are handled very differently. They have more of a prestige, right? And they have more of a base where, especially those that's across the world, where you can go attend these conferences all over the world, there's much of a larger base. And they have events where the only thing you need to do is submit an abstract. So pretty much they make it very simple for you to become engaged and to present on their platform, right? Member or not. And what I have found out is that for 5 years, for 5 years, I did this, 2015 to 2020, right before COVID hit. I was actually traveling everywhere because I was tired getting on the planes, but I was traveling because I wanted to increase. I was being very strategic. I wanted to increase my brand and awareness with that area that I was in, which was leadership coaching, leadership development. So for 5 years, I went on different speaking engagements, different platforms, but they were all organization based. And when I would post, I've actually gotten a couple of gigs without even trying, for people like, hey, can you come and speak here? And I got paid. But I started developing my brand. Even now, leadership, right? Leadership development and business strategy. Business strategy was something that I was already doing at work. I just was not branding myself in it. So now I am branding myself in that. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? I'm hoping this will help you in terms of branding. So I am focusing on this subject because during the survey, someone asked about how can they increase their branding? And that's the way to increase it. One is, how are you making yourself different for the people who want to consume it? 2, who are you targeting? 3, what is your brand color so that when people see it, they know it's you? And then 4, how are you letting people know this is your area of expertise? How are you increasing your brand? How are you doing that? And I recommend through speaking. And another way to do it is through white papers. So here's an example. And I think this is one of the biggest things. The reason why I know about this, right, is because in corporate, we had to write white papers all the time and we had to submit it. I have my dog, Josie, here. Josie, can I show everybody to you? Come here. Come here. Come here. She's big now. I don't know if you guys, look at her. You guys remember Josie? You see her? You see Josie? She a mess. Want my attention. All right. So, but when whatever industry you in, write papers. And you can publish your papers on your website or even on the other platform. Yeah, she is big, Emeka. On other multiple platforms. You can write those and write from an educational standpoint. If you are in the hair industry and people are losing their edges, the best thing is to write about why, what is happening here. You can write it from a chemical base. You can write it from the stress base in terms of why women are losing their hair more now than ever, and publish that. There are too many ways now for you to get published for you to increase your brand. And all I'm saying is that you have to do more than post online. That's just marketing. But in terms of branding, you want people to know that you have the education, the knowledge, the expertise in what you want people to buy from you. Okay? I love publishing. If you go to my page, you will see that I publish articles once a week. And or if you go to my website, is for people to resonate with me, especially when it comes to leadership development and what is happening now with women leaders who are trying to figure out what's their next, right? So I'm targeting women leaders, executive level women, CEOs. That's my target audience. It doesn't mean that I don't help everyone else, but that's my target audience and what they want their next stage of life to be. These are the women who are, right, who are saying, I know I have more to give. I'm ready to give up this 9-to-5 corporate life, but I want to keep my salary. So that's the thing. I want to keep my salary. So what would it take for me to be strategic where I'm not rushing so that I can begin to build my brand? Okay. And hence I come in and say, hey, and for those of you who have been in my Business Accelerator program, congratulations. Especially for those of you who are doing the beta test. It is now 12 months. I've extended it to 12 months because it takes a while for you to develop who you are. And we don't want this to be a race. This is a marathon. Yes, yes, it takes time. And I can say this as a person, it took me 3 years. The first year I was running and I was working full time, let's be clear. And I was getting clients. The second year I was running. And now the third year is where I'm like, okay, I don't want anyone else to experience what I experienced because realistically, it does take time. And I had to go and find different people to give me the information I needed in different spots. And no one was holding my hand. And I don't want to put that on anybody. So in this community, in the Leap Forward community, you would never be alone. That I can promise you. We'll be working step by step, inch by inch, so that it can become a cinch. And it's not yard by yard where it can be hard. But the only thing I ask you to do is to trust yourself. So that's the biggest thing on branding is what it is, how do you show up to the clients that you want, and how can you continue to develop that expertise in your area so that people would know that's for you. Okay. If this was helpful, everyone, let me know, give me a shout out. I definitely appreciate it. For those of you who are able to join me, thank you for joining me, and have a great day. And I'll see you tomorrow. I think I'm gonna go live every day for little mini webinars. What do you guys think? Let me know if this was of great value to you, and enjoy your Christmas and enjoy your holiday season. All right. Bye. Josie is on my own.